Welcome back to Watercolor Wednesdays. I'm Kelly, I'm the reference librarian who's going to be teaching you some simple watercolor techniques. We're going to be painting some cacti today, so this is what we're going to be doing. And let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to load my brush with some water. We're going to start with the wet on wet technique. So I want to load it just a little bit with some of this. We're going to start off gradually with lighter colors as the first layer with the wet on wet. I just want this to have a little bit of green so I could see it on the paper when I start. So wet on wet is when you do a wet paper and then you add color, wet color to that wet paper. So we started off with our first cylindrical shape. You probably can't see it as well, so let me add a little bit more green. We want to start off as light as possible because we will add value to it as we go. We'll get dark. And then I'm going to add another little cylindrical shape here. Cactus arm. It got a little bit darker there. Did you see that? And just another little one right here. You can see in my example. So this example comes from that everyday watercolor book I mentioned last time. Alright, so we'll let that dry for a few minutes. If you'd like, you could go ahead and do another smaller one to the side. Maybe something a little bit more simple. Cacti can be completely different. Nothing is going to be the same. So there's a few different cactus you could try to draw. We'll let that dry and then we could add some detail. Alright, so now that everything is dry, we're going to go ahead and add some detail. We're going to use the smaller brush with the finer tip for the fine detail. You're going to get a little bit more of color onto the brush rather than water. I did dip it once and then I wet my brush onto the color just to kind of load it up and make it darker. We're outlining stuff to give it some depth and to kind of just give it some shape, especially this blob right here. So I'm going to dip it one more time into the water just to kind of help it, brush some off on the side. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to just outline some shapes very quickly. Okay, so we're done with that part. Let's go ahead and do, with the same smaller brush, we're going to do the flowers now. So some cacti have flower on them. So just like this example, we'll do the same. So we'll start off light and then work our way up to a more vibrant color. So I dipped it into the pigment, wet it a little bit so that it's kind of light, and then I'm going to just, maybe one more dip. And then just kind of lightly brush a little bit of color, sort of just like some blobs, small ones, petals if you want to call them. Those are the flowers. We're going to let it dry just a little bit and then we could add a little bit of a darker pigment to them. Like for some of these that are already dry. Oh, that wasn't dry. So If you like the wet on wet technique, you could do what I just did with some of it. Just add a little bit more pink at the bottom. I'm just gonna add that quick yellow I was talking about. All it is just a little dot of yellow. And that is our tutorial for today's Watercolor Wednesday. Don't forget to tag the library so that we can see what you have done. And don't forget to check out this book, Everyday Watercolor, if you want to check it out. We have it available for curbside pickup and as well as e-library. Thanks, guys.